evening, YouTube. This is Tired Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you guys have had a good Tuesday. So, well, we finally have a little bit more to talk about for a change here. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be seeing this video anyway. But, I've kept saying something about the tropics getting active, and it looks like we're finally beginning to see that. Before I get into this video, if you like what I've been doing in the last few, drop a like, leave me a sub or a comment, or just simply say hello. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get off that tangent and jump right into it here. So first off, we have this disturbance here. Almost would call it a tropical wave that is just north of the Panama Canal and heading towards the Yucatan. Right now, there's a very low chance of development with this, but there's still a chance, A and B, this could still be a player for parts of northern Mexico and southern Texas by ways of rainfall. So this is still something that warrants attention. So this wave over Nicaragua, wow, I cannot pronounce that. Nicaragua, and is expected to move over Central America over the next couple of days. And maybe by Friday, there is a small chance that a low pressure will form right around this peninsula here. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We have another 3 days to go. We'll just have to keep monitoring it, and I will be providing further updates on this as time goes on. So there's only a 20% chance on the 5-day outlook. So for right now, that's going to go to the back burner. And here's a better look at the system on infrared satellite here. You can, we actually put this into motion here. You can see it. You can see an increase of thunderstorm activity over here. We don't really have that spin yet to call this a tropical system right now. To really call it a full-on tropical system yet. We want to see a little bit of that counterclockwise motion in order to really start to pay more attention to this right now. But there's still plenty of convection there, so this will need to be watched, especially as we get into this area where we're pretty much in bath water with relatively light wind shear. So the storm definitely is in the right environment for it to thrive. Just how much will this land interaction affect it is going to be the key question. You can even see other areas of convection around Hispaniola and even parts of Cuba here. These are going to be relatively benign, I think, for the most part. Over towards this region, I think there's a little bit more wind shear here, so we don't have to worry about any of this. And of course, we have our offshore thunderstorms that tend to form around Florida during this time of year. Okay, so this is what we have going on in the Gulf and the Caribbean. Pretty much this is close to home and around the lower 48. But we also need to pay attention to what's going out further towards the east. Towards the east. My brain is not working well today. I apologize. But if we look over here, we have two areas. We have a little area of activity over here, a little cluster of storms. Not looking super impressive right now. And then we have this other little massive storm that's going to be coming off the West African coast and be working its way out into the waters here. Wind shear actually is looking pretty light from what we can see here. We'll set this into motion just to move things along a little further. It looks like this storm right here, this was looking to potentially become a tropical wave, and it was an area the NHC was watching real close. But it looks like it's starting to wane right now. We'll see how this forms, but it looks like at one point it was starting to kind of breathe out a little bit, like it was trying to get some spin going. So this main development region is starting to pick up here. I mean, we've been waiting a while, and then if you look here, this little area here looks kind of interesting as well. And we do expect this activity to increase in this region as we continue to progress through August and into September and October. This is peak hurricane season, so we have to watch all regions. So let's go ahead and take a look over this area in particular. we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the vorticity over this area, because that's going to be a key factor in what makes or breaks these storms right now. So you can kind of see right now, based off of our map, that there is an area of vorticity right around here that we were just looking at on that satellite. So this does kind of coincide with that, and this will become a point of interest over the coming days. Go ahead and take a look, and then you can almost kind of see where the area becomes a little bit more concentrated over time according to the Euro. The Euro does have this trying to develop into something a little bit more significant. We'll take a look at the GFS too to kind of see if there's any sort of model agreement or alignment, so to speak. But from what I can see here, we do have a couple of tropical systems trying to develop, and where they go from this point, it's too far to tell. Euro's only going out to 90 hours right now, and even then, once we get past about 100 hours, it can get pretty wacky anyway. But there's also one other thing that I want to bring to your attention, and that's oops, clicked the wrong thing. But the other thing I want to bring to your attention is this right here. This is not a tropical system. This is actually a part of our, this actually is a tropical system, or it was trying to be one. But one thing I also want to bring to your attention is this little ridge that's set up right here. You see where these barbs are all pointing? The way these barbs are all moving? Right around this region. This is important for a lot of reasons. And you're probably thinking, but Ty, what does the ridge have to do with the hurricane? I'll tell you what, and it's one word actually: steering. These tropical systems do not move without some kind of driving force, and especially around this region, like these storms would just meander over here forever. But you see how these barbs are pointing this way? This is courtesy of our little our ridge that's set up here. Now, what makes this special is the fact that this ridge can't be too strong or too weak. Because if it's too weak, these storms will get kicked out into sea, and they'll basically be next to nothing. They'll have next to no impacts on land. They'll just be fish storms. But if this ridge here is too strong, these storms will literally be torn apart. Right now we have it set up to where these storms are kind of being pushed a little bit further south, but also the further back this ridge is, the lighter the wind shear is, the lighter the wind shear starts to get around this region. So it's going to be interesting to see where these storms end up being steered towards and how they interact with that environment once they get to set point. But this is just the Euro, so we're going to have to take a look at the GFS as well and see just what this may have to offer for us also. Now, given the fact that GFS is 384 hours, we're not going to go out as far, because that's just going to confuse you, confuse me, and it will do pretty much nobody any good. So, I mean, it looks like, based off what I see here, the GFS also has a little bit of a similar look, maybe a little bit more aggressive than the Euro, I would say. We'll roll this along here. Okay. Trying to make sure I'm going in the right direction here. There we go. So we do get a look. We do get a nice little look at this tropical system. It's definitely giving us a more aggressive look from the GFS, and there's several of them as well, which is really interesting. But the wind shear here looks a little bit stronger too, though, which could play a factor in these storms possibly tearing themselves apart, because you can actually see it right here. You can see that this is our high pressure area right here. All these storms are circulating around this point here. So these storms are being steered off a little bit further to the east, and that could become a factor in regards to where these storms head out. But this wind shear is so much stronger, though, that it could very well tear these storms apart. This main development region is always an interesting area to watch because simply how these storms will interact with said environment. Just the slightest little shift could make or break a storm, and it's almost pure madness in trying to figure out what the storm will do, especially with it being this far out because our hurricane hunters are pretty much stationed all around maybe Hispaniola or parts of the Florida Keys or the Bahamas, and then they have to go all the way out here to try to get a hold of it, just to look into these kinds of tropical systems here that we have developing apparently 300 hours out from now. Take this with a grain of salt. This is why I don't like going out this far on tropical stuff with the GFS, because it can get wacky very quickly. It can get very aggressive very quickly. But that's besides the point. Information on all this stuff that I'm showing you here is limited. So in a way, kind of take what I'm saying now as a disclaimer. This could change literally by the next morning, maybe even overnight. But like I said, this is why we have this channel, so we can watch this stuff and make updates as needed. But this is all I got for you guys. I wonder how long this video went. It wasn't too bad. It was about 11 minutes. But this is our tropical update for today. Like I said earlier in the video, if you like what I did here, drop a like, leave me a comment, subscribe, share the video. Hopefully you guys learned something from me today. If not, it's alright. But we'll be a little bit more active on here, especially now that things look like they're starting to pick up in the tropics as well. We may make a video tomorrow even, who knows. But until the next one, this has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. You guys have a excellent evening.